AI a blessing or curse for the cybersecurity? In order to progress into leadership role, what kind of traits should a woman have to be able to achieve that?
I find diversity not only on gender, just different people is important to be successful in that sense. Of course, I'm a female and I was born in Suriname with an Indian background, so in that sense also ethnic diversity. So how do you bring like-minded people but also with different views together is key for to also be successful in advising and working with your clients. And teaming for us as EY is extremely important because you work always with a team to support a client or an organization. I think for people, the main conception is you need to be very technical. That's not really needed. In my team, we have people with all different backgrounds. From gender perspective, I noticed the higher you come, so you get more leadership roles. There, I started to see that sometimes people, if there is a older male colleague next to you, that they tend to take that person as the more leader or the senior person, where in some cases I would lead the team. And there you see that these kind of unconscious biases still exist because they don't see often a female in this domain or even a young one.
What is your mission or mantra in life that keeps you going? One thing you love the most and one thing you hate the most about your job. Today is a very exciting day for me as I have my first women cybersecurity person on the hot seat. She is one of the 24% women in the male dominating industry. Very warm welcome to Ms. Rudrani Djwalapersad, who is a cyber partner and an advocate of D&I within EY. Welcome, Rudrani.
Thank you very much.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Exciting for this podcast.
So happy to have you, Rudrani. Let's start with how did you get into cyber?
To be honest, I didn't expect to land up in cyber. So when I did my studies, I studied business administration. I thought I like consultancy, but I never knew what I want to do because it's quite broad. You can go into finance, strategy, and cyber at that time was not really one of the topics. So I started my career initially at EDAS, and they had a bit of a management consultancy traineeship. So I was able to do a number of stuff, IT transformation, business improvements, and then I ended up into information security. And I got quite intrigued by the topic because every single day you hear about it. I think last Friday there was a huge outage in the world. Not a cyber-related one, but just these kind of disruptions really got my attention. And I really liked how can you help organizations prepare for these. And when there's a disruption, how can you make sure they handle it with care and they can really recover in a good way. And that really triggered what I said, my interest in the field. And from then on, I wanted to really specialize in it. So that's a bit why I ended up into cyber. I didn't expect cyber to be one of my topics, but I rolled up in it, so to say.
So, what do you do at EY now?
So at EY, I lead our cyber practice that is focused on the financial sector. So we support banks, financial institutions like insurance companies, pension funds, with making themselves more secure, maturing their organization. My specialty myself, I'm not technical at all. I have a financial law and business administration background, so I really focus more on talking to board, to management, helping CISOs to bring in cyber as part of something that the entire organization should do. How are they set up? What are the risks? How they can be more resilient? But my team broadly focus on identity and access management, data privacy, data loss prevention. So the full domain of cyber solutions, advice we bring to our clients. So that's what I do at EY on a day-to-day basis in the Netherlands, but also outside the Netherlands.
Yeah. And how did this D&I come to you? Is it because you were a woman, so you thought I'm going to pick this up?
No, so I find diversity, not only on gender, just different people, is important to be successful in that sense. Of course, I'm a female, and I was born in Suriname with an Indian background, so in that sense, also ethnic diversity. So how do you bring like-minded people, but also with different views together, is key for to also be successful in advising and working with your clients. And teaming, for us as EY, is extremely important, because you work always with a team to support a client or an organization. So that has been my core belief or focus. But in the role, so the more you go into leadership role, you get a higher, more bigger platform. And using that platform to be an advocate for D&I is extremely important. So when I was asked to take up the EMEA, so that's Europe, Middle East, India, Africa role on pushing D&I in our cyber community, which we have around 3,500 people at EY that focus on cyber. Yeah, I thought let's of course do it, because it's important to continuously work on improving our inclusive organization.
Yeah, it's very important these days, and I see more and more organizations focusing on DNI right now. So good job. It just feels very very nice and proud.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
So tell me, how was your journey when you started off as a woman in this, like I said, male dominating industry? Did you have to face any issues, or how, or was it smooth for you?
No, I don't think it's, if you are, I would say, a minority, it's never in that sense a smooth ride. It's not that it's that you have every day to day a certain encounter, but in general, if it's a certain male dominated world, or you have a non-native background, you do need to adjust yourself in some cases, or you have these unconscious biases that are there. So that's there. I think that's something that we cannot deny. What I noticed, especially the beginning of the career, I didn't feel it in that sense, because I worked a lot in international organizations. So the clients I worked in, the teams were quite international. So if you're working in an international environment, the ethnic diversity angle is quite addressed, because everybody has a different cultural background. And I personally like to work in an international environment. From a gender perspective, I noticed the higher you come, so you get more leadership roles. There, I started to see that sometimes people, if there is a older male colleague next to you, that they tend to take that person as the more leader or the senior person, where in some cases I would lead the team. And there you see that these kind of unconscious biases still exist, because they don't see often a female in this domain, or even a young one.
Yeah.
So if you have less, in that sense, gray hair, yeah, you do need to prove yourself a bit more to be taken in that sense serious, because often that's not the people that they get in front of them.
How do you overcome that?
So I think what helps, especially in the day-to-day in the work environment, is that if they know where you're from, so they know at EY, I'm a partner, I think that already helps to give you a certain position, because you will not be able to do it if you will not be capable in that sense. So you see with the clients that in organizations that really helps. But in some cases, you need to bring enough content, so that, and the moment that they trust and say, okay, hey, you do have in that sense a story or an opinion that matters, then the trust is there, and then doesn't it doesn't impact. But I did doubt myself, in the sense like, hey, when I, for instance, went up for partner, I didn't have 10 years of experience, so that was my 9 year of experience. And then I thought, hey, I'm just new in this domain. And then somebody told me, but cyber in itself, it's not a very old domain like IT is, but in the topics you're working on, it's not that somebody already is doing some of these topics for 20 or 30 years, because a lot of the topics that I work with in the cyber domain are relatively more the transformational, the new topics. As one of the elements now, we're implementing in the financial services DORA, so the Digital Operations Resilience Act. It's just now being implemented. It's not that somebody has done this for I don't know 10 years, because it will only get an effect in Jan. And that really helped me to get more confidence and say, hey, I do have a voice that matters, because it's not that I compete with people that are, I don't know, 4 or 5 times as more experienced in some of the things, because it factually was not also possible.
Yeah.
Because of the new topics, in essence,
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
was also focused on.
What would you tell a young woman who's an aspirant in this field?
In essence, is that cybersecurity, and that's why I like D&I on it. So it's not only about making sure you get more diverse people from the usual suspect diversity topics, being gender, age, ethnic background, it doesn't matter, but also personality, but also educational backgrounds. People tend to think that if you are in cyber, you need to hack, that you need to be extremely technical. I call it the tip of the iceberg. That's when that's more the technical element. But you need to make sure that there's an entire system in place, your process, your people, your technology, a governance, and all of those things. So myself, I have a business administration law background. There's no technical stuff. I do understand it, but there's nothing there. But that's focused on engineering. Or so I think for people, they should not say cyber is not for me because I don't have a computer engineering background. Or you can also, it requires different skills, different backgrounds. There's a lot of social psychologists effects on it as well, you need to understand. So I think for people, the main conception is you need to be very technical. That's not really needed. In my team, we have people with all different backgrounds, which I think is the power as well. Because from a hacker point perspective, you need to understand a human being to also understand how a human being is doing these kind of attacks. It's not only about the technical techniques, but also the sentiment, the thought process, and everything around it.
So, do you think, yeah, I mean, and you've kind of proven it, you've come to this level without being technical, and you've got a nice governance next to you, like your team and
Yeah.
processes in place that helps you. Um, but do you sometimes feel on day-to-day basis that because I'm not technical, I'm not able to understand at that level that my team is trying to explain to me?
No, so I think in essence, you need to know what I think your strengths and weaknesses are. So I don't want to, like, I would say, fake it till I make it. In a sense, like, if there's a topic I don't know, I make sure I link or get a colleague involved that is an expert in that topic. For some of the technical topics on high level, I do know the concept. If it needs to go in details, I do include another person. So what I do within, for instance, my team or utilize our global network is if there's a topic where I really need an expertise, which I cannot do myself, I engage the EY network we have, either in Netherlands or outside globally, to get the right person involved.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, I don't believe there's somebody that knows it all, right? You need to know your expertise and also know what you cannot do,
Yeah.
because otherwise it's also about your credibility in that sense.
So, what is your mission or mantra in life that keeps you going?
Um, in essence, I want to make sure I want to make an impact. I think as a consultant, you try to help get organizations be better. So for me, it's really about how can I make an impact on the things that I do, either as a professional or as a personal. So that's my, yeah, I want to say my mantra, but yeah, that's thing, a bit my purpose in that sense.
Right. You've always been a consultant before this also.
Yes, always.
Would you know what is the difference between a consulting and being an industry expert? Or
Yeah, so there are a few. I think, in essence, so for me, I like to be a consultant, and of course, you evaluate once in a while. Do I want to go in a corporate, say in consultancy? For me, it's still very clear that I want to be a consultant because I just like the diversity of my day, my work. I work with so many different people, so many different organizations on a daily basis, and the fact since I started working until now, no day has been the same. So that's what I like. I don't like stability or same thing. Like in a more structured way. So that, but that's personal. But the main difference is, as a consultant, is that people do expect you to bring in knowledge. So you need to be always on top of your game, know what are the developments out there, and be able to, in a short timeline, quickly add value because of a need a certain organization has. If you're internal, of course you need to add value at certain thing, but you're also confined to a certain function you have. So if you're in a security team and you lead the identity and access management, that's your focus. And what I like with consultancy is that sometimes we do an identity and access management project, and sometimes we do something that is totally different. So you have a bit more, you're working on multiple topics, which also makes you need to be quite aware about what is going on. You need to be extremely curious, and because that is where clients are asking you to do. So the focus on the work is quite different. You also need to do a lot of development, solutioning development. So it's bringing multiple angles, which is different than when you're a part of a corporate, which of course brings other points as well. So it's quite a personal preference on what you want to do.
Yeah. Talking about the new buzzword that's going around, which is AI, what's your take on that? Do you think it's more positive? It's more negative?
I think it's both. We call it a bit of a double-edged sword. On one hand, it brings a lot of opportunities. So as a company, you're able to deliver your products in a different way. You can do things a bit quicker, smarter. So it has all of these positive angles. From a cyber perspective, the positive angles is you can also utilize AI to do better detection and all the things around it, help with training. So it has a lot of, in that sense, opportunities. You just, with every technology, you need to manage the risks. So making sure that when people are using AI, it's taken into account the security, privacy, and data risk. So I see it as something that is positive, but you need to make sure it's controlled.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay. What do you think, in order to progress into leadership role, what kind of traits should a woman have to be able to achieve that?
So I'm not sure if you want to make the distinction between like men and women in essence, because of course you have gender challenges, but you need to be sensitive towards the organization, and maybe say organizational sensitivity, meaning stakeholder management in essence. I think a non-negotiable is that you should be capable to do and do your job well, because if you progress, you need to be meeting the functional requirements, but you need to understand and manage your stakeholders. So what are expectations for you to take up the role? How can you do it in a way that works for you so you can stay your authentic self? But your stakeholder management is quite key, and you need to have also a support system. You need mentors, coaches, sponsors. Without that, you can be the best, but if you don't have sponsors or the right people around you, you will not get the opportunity. So stakeholder management is quite key,
Right.
I believe.
Right. Would you want to tell us one thing that people don't know about you?
Yeah, I'm just thinking what they don't know about me. Yeah, I think a lot of people, of course, don't know me in that sense. I think people know that I'm from Suriname, but one of the things it's good to know is that sometimes people don't know where Suriname is, people in the Netherlands. So it's because if you look at me, I'm Indian in that sense from an ethnic background perspective, but I'm fourth generation Indian. So grew up, born in Suriname and there. So that's, I think, for people when they're watching your podcast, it's good to refer to the fact that I'm from Suriname. And the other thing is that I have a scar on my hand that is actually from a lion.
Oh.
And can tell cool stories on it. But then once the time I was in South Africa, we went to a lion, I would say, orphanage, and was playing around with a lion of 6-9 months. You can just pet them. And then the moment he really got enthusiastic and put his claw on my hand. Oh. Not painful, but it's it's a very small one, but it's a cool story to tell.
Oh, wow.
Because I have a scar
from a lion.
So that's maybe something that not a lot of people know.
And the lioness in the industry, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah, and maybe indeed.
All right. We have a very fun round, Rudrani. It's called rapid fire round.
Okay.
So I'm going to shoot some questions at you,
Yes.
and you need to answer them as quickly as possible.
Yeah, I will do that.
Yes? Okay, great. Ready?
Yes.
Super. Is AI a blessing or curse for the cybersecurity?
A blessing.
How often do you interact with advertisements on social network?
Almost never.
No?
No, I like I don't. This is the first thing I scroll away.
Oh, so you never say, oh, this is interesting. Let me just go in and see.
No, because I also turned off my microphone. So what? Because I see some of my friends we talk, and then all of a sudden on Instagram they get advertisement on that. So I the moment I see it, I scroll. Yeah.
Okay. So you're quite risk averse.
No, it's more like I know what if I want to buy, I go to a certain website myself. So I don't really, in that sense.
Yeah. So you don't do impulsive
No,
shopping.
exactly. I think that's more the no point. Because it can trigger, and then I later let's not because I know I don't need it. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Okay. Turning off the GPS function of your smartphone prevents any tracking of your phone's location. True or false?
false. I think there's more to GPS only to do tracking.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When you suspect that your identity has been stolen, what should you do?
I think yeah, it's a good question. If you suspected that your identity is being stolen, I would say double check with your email, etc. But also then go to the police or ask for some support to and get their help into because it's good to get the info so that nobody already is misusing it. So if you reported it and something happens afterwards, you at least have the proof and evidences that you indicated
Yeah,
it's you suspect it's stolen,
right.
but utilize align with authorities.
Mm. Can internet service providers see the online activities of their subscribers when they are using private browsing? Yes or no?
I think yes.
Yeah?
I would expect. I think in essence there are many options that you can say you do private, but if you want to monitor something, you can still monitor. It's more about, I think, again, that's not my technical expertise. This is just my assumption. You maybe not do anything about it, but still, I think you can still be quite, yeah, know everything.
Hmm. Okay, you have to be careful then.
I don't know, and maybe they cannot see it, but I would still expect that you put in private that people still will be able to, at least in some shape or form, track.
Okay. One thing you love the most and one thing you hate the most about your job.
What I love the most is really working with a lot of different people. So really the team element, and together you have a challenge and together come up with a solution. So the teamwork is one of the things I really love. Um, and in that sense, trying to make an impact together. What I hate is all the admin work that comes around it, but that's also part of the job, I would say.
True, true. Where do you look for inspiration or to continue learning?
Um, it's multiple things in essence. So depending on on the subject itself, I read up on articles. What I actually find quite a good source is LinkedIn. The moment, so if you follow a certain group, some people, it gives you a lot of updates in essence. So that's more on the technical side. On topics, we have a lot of learning. So if you want to get more acquainted with AI or something quantum, there are some good learnings, content learnings. And then on leadership and the soft skills, yeah, also making sure of ongoing trainings there, reading up on articles around managing teams. It's a bit of a continuous, more reading interesting articles on leadership, people versus the content, what's going on in cyber.
Right. Okay. What advice do you wish you had received early in your career?
Um, I think what would be nice is, especially from a consultancy perspective, so when you start your career, you do a lot of projects. and you meet a lot of people, to really maintain that network from the beginning. I started a bit later in the career, and then but you had a lot of opportunity earlier on to just maintain the contact. So maintaining and managing your network in that sense. I think I have a quite large now, but if I would have started earlier, it could be larger. So that's something that I'm now also sharing with my team members, is keep in contact with people you work with, because it's about building that network as well.
Yeah.
So I would, if I would do that earlier, I think that would have been could have been better.
Yeah, absolutely. And I am of the same opinion. I also tell that to myself, that I wish I had done this earlier,
Yeah, exactly.
but it's never too late to
Yeah,
start.
exactly. So that's something that I would have wanted to hear earlier.
Yeah.
But again, that's
It's
more hindsight, and but in essence, it's something you can then share with other people,
yeah,
so they can do it.
amazing. That was it,
Okay, yeah.
Rudrani. You did a great job.
Thank you.
It was lovely meeting you, Rudrani. I think we heard some great stories, and how, a woman is kind of pushing herself out of the clouds and showing up at a leadership level. Many congratulations to
Thank
you on
you.
that, and very proud of you. And thank you again for being on my show.
No, thank you, Needed. I love it. So thanks for having me in that sense.